Coast Guard rescue swimmers are an elite group in the U.S. military. Only a few hundred are standing by at the ready right now around the country. Back in 1993, a record-breaking case involving one rescue swimmer now living in East Tennessee inspired the climax of a Hollywood movie that you could call the Coast Guard's Top Gun.
And when you watch the movie The Guardian, at the end, that last scene, this is what you see.
This Coast Guard rescue swimmer was part of a record-setting mission featured in a Hollywood movie, and that frayed wire played a key role in the climax.
When you get to school, it's basically boot camp all over again plus times 20, right?
But before jumping out of helicopters into unforgiving seas, Dave Yoder had to prove himself in a training pool. After serving in the Air Force and the Marines, in the early 90s, Yoder, an old man at age 29, earned a spot in the fledgling Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer Program.
But truth is, 90% of the guys don't ever make it to school, especially back then. And then we ended up with 29 total with the Navy. 9 guys finished. The ambulance came to the pool every day, took somebody out, somebody screaming, somebody drowned, whatever it might be. It's very tough. It's like the water training of the Navy SEAL program, but it's not combat.
The SOS call that made history began with this grainy video and these basic facts. 3 sailors stranded 400 miles offshore in an unrelenting storm. A 41-foot sailboat with a 65-foot mast rolling so violently, knives and forks embedded in the galley ceiling. A scout plane captured this video in a flyby, showing the motorless boat heaving at the mercy of a raging sea.
It's tough to tell the height of those waves in that video, but those 4 Coast Guard rescuers in that helicopter saw waves that were 40 to 100 feet tall, as high as these buildings downtown. When they got on scene, the sky was black, the sea was black, and their first order to the sailors below was to tether themselves together with a rope and jump into the water.
And we tell them, after we discuss this, that we only have 30 minutes to do this, and they're going to have to jump off the boat. Because you can imagine, if you've got seas that we now know had 100-foot swells, and we hover above them to try to pull them off that, they can come out and knock us out of the sky. They trusted us so much. They jumped off that boat into the... Most people won't jump off a pier at nighttime, you know? And these guys are in 40, 50-foot seas and they jump. So I said my prayers and I said, I'm going. He lowers me down and he puts me pretty close to the 3 guys that were down there. And I reached out, and, you know, actually I swam up to him, talked to him a little bit, and I reached out until the guy turned around. And I took the first guy to the basket. Now keep in mind, the seas are rolling 40, 60, 80. As I got him to the basket would either be on top of the water, which it's supposed to be, and then all of a sudden I'm grabbing hold of it to put him in, and we're hanging there because the seas would drop 30, 40 feet. I felt like they were pulling it out of my hands. I was really getting upset. Why is he pulling the basket away from me? He wasn't. I was dropping so fast. And then as we got lifted up probably 30, 40 feet, the cable that comes down had slack in it, and it fed through that bale with him sitting here like this. I just knew that it was going to catch him and it could cut you in half. But all of a sudden the swell dropped, the cable played out, boom, and he was gone. Dave brings him up, and they take off that direction because I'm moving with the swells, and he's doing what he has to do, gets the guy into the helicopter.
1 rescued, 2 to go.
And I turn around and look for the second guy and the third guy, and I can't find him.
They're roped together, but you can't see them?
I can't see him. The waves are so big, and they're getting washed away.
The real-life drama unfolding would almost a decade later become scenes in a Hollywood movie based on the heroics of Coast Guard rescue swimmers.
They bring the helo back. Dave takes a spotlight. He hits me with him. He hits them with him. The waves are coming this way, you know, the size of this house, coming this way, and they're over there, like where you're at from me. I can't swim to them because I'd be washed away, so I start swimming up the swells, so this way, so that it would wash me down on them.
The tactic works, and swimmer Dave Yoder grabs a second sailor and puts him in the metal rescue basket for a hoist up to the relative safety of the helicopter.
When they lifted him up out of the water, I got lifted up by a swell. He got put into the, you know, they swing him into the door, and I got lifted up so high that I could have reached out like that fan right there and grabbed the tire. I could feel the heat of the engines on my face and see the rotor blades. I thought they were just going to hit those waves.
Yoder rides the swell down to the final victim. The clock is ticking. Fuel on the chopper is running low. And in the words of this veteran rescue swimmer, helicopters don't float.
I get him in, finally, they lift him up, they put him in, and then it's just me. So I felt a whole relief. It's kind of like the sea just calmed.
But the drama isn't over. What unfolds in the next few minutes became a climactic scene in the movie The Guardian.
And they come back, maneuver back, they drop the cable down. Now, I'm not going to try to get in this basket. They bring what we call a bear hook down. It's the hook that we hook up with. And as I do that, and I go ready for pickup, and Dave's like, okay. And he hits that button to bring that hoist, turn that cable on that hoist, a swell hits me. And I got hit this way with the cable, with this way, flipped me upside down. And when I came out of there, I was screaming because it hurt. And it parted everything here because it's like a bucket, when you pull a bucket through water, you know how heavy it is? That was my body. And it parted the cable in the flight mech's hand.
The fraying cable, a made-for-big screen moment, is forever preserved in this wall mount.
But in real life, there wasn't a Kevin Costner, Ashton Kutcher hanging. It was really just me hanging from that cable.
Dave Yoder credits his fellow coastie running the hoist for managing to loop in the bad cable and save this rescue swimmer from dropping to his death at the 29-minute mark of a mission that only had the fuel to support 30 minutes on scene.
It turned out to be a record-breaking case where we flew the longest over the open water.
It marked a record-setting rescue and a day of firsts for Dave Yoder.
It happened to be my first offshore rescue. Everything after that's easy, right?
The military recognized his actions that day with one of its highest awards, the Distinguished Flying Cross for Extraordinary Heroism. It's symbolic of the medal that makes up a rare breed of rescuers.
So when nobody else goes, we go. In the Coast Guard, we would go. And our motto, so others may live, and that's what we did.
At age 59, Dave Yoder recently reconnected with the sailors he saved that day. You can see a couple of them here on the screen. You can imagine they are grateful he and his fellow Coast Guard crew members volunteered for that rescue mission.